Singapore's Prime Minister Loong says the government is prepared to tap into more of the country's financial reserves if the COVID-19 situation deteriorates. The president has already given the in-principle approval for the government to draw $17 billion to fund this week's supplementary budget. Mr. Lee says the resilience budget was unprecedented but necessary. Tan Se-hui reports.
We are in a very grave situation.
That's Prime Minister Hsien Loong's description of the COVID-19 impact on Singapore. On the healthcare front, he used the analogy of a tide, saying that the tide has not turned and it is still coming in as more overseas Singaporeans return home. But he said it is a situation that isn't unique to Singapore, citing China, America and European countries experiencing the same problem.
This is all around us, and the waves are going to take many, many months and maybe more than a year or two to settle. And we in Singapore, we are sitting watching our dike, trying to keep ourselves safe and preventing any of this from coming in, and I have a situation which goes out of control. So I'm in this for a very long time to come.
He urged for cooperation through safe distancing, keeping up with personal hygiene and the discipline to stay at home if they just arrive from overseas. On the economic front, Mr. Lee said it is an unprecedented problem, with Singapore hit particularly hard due to the country's dependence on trade. But it will not go away immediately, and the country is protecting its borders till the situation stabilizes, a story similar to China's.
China, having brought their cases down to zero, have now, instead of relaxing controls on their borders, have now put up more stringent border protections around themselves because they are dead scared of the COVID-19 coming back into China. And that's all going to affect the aviation industry as well as globalized economies like Singapore. And it's going to last quite a long time. It's not a V-shaped down dip. It's not a U-shaped dip. It's come down. If you're lucky, you can sustain it at a diminished level for quite a long time. If you're not lucky, it will keep on going down, and some pieces are going to have a lot of difficulty just staying in existence.
That's why within just 5 weeks after the first budget, a $48 billion supplementary budget was rolled out on Thursday. It's set to support companies, workers and households. Mr. Lee said the situation totally changed within a month, calling for a package that's 6 times bigger than the original budget. The supplementary package, also called the resilience budget, should see Singapore through until the end of the year. And at the end of this year, Mr. Lee said the government may extend or modify the package. But if the situation worsens in the next few months, he's prepared to tap on more reserves.
We have tapped from the reserves for this package $17 billion. The total amount of the reserves we do not publish, but we have much more than that, and it will see us through for quite a long time. It is just as well that we have not gone and listened to the people who said to us, you don't need so much, why are you saving all this money? Just touch it and we will be all right. But we kept it aside, and I think this is not just a rainy day, it's a mighty storm, as the DPM said. And we will do what we need to do.
Mr. Lee said that while the budget will subsidize wages and help with costs like rentals and property tax, there are still some challenges.
What is difficult for us to do is to bring back the business when there is no business. If I have to lock down the public entertainment, then it's very difficult for the discos to operate. It's very difficult if you are a DJ. Where do you get your gig? If there's no international flights, because other countries have locked down their borders, then it's very difficult to keep SIA pilots and crew flying. We have to work hard to find ways to redeploy the people who are inevitably going to be, at the very least, underemployed during this period.
School closures are also out of the question. Mr. Lee said long-term school absenteeism rates have crept up during this crisis. He says schools should be kept open as a means to guide children, especially those from lower-income families.
Actually, schools can be safe places, and schools actually provide a very important service which helps their kids and helps their parents. And if you don't have them open, it doesn't mean that your problem has gone away, because where do the kids go? Those who have parents who can look after them at home, well, okay, they are quite sit at home, do homework, no computer games. Those with no parents at home, they may run down to the video arcade or to the shops and roam around, and maybe even more at risk of catching COVID than if they were in a controlled environment in school.
He adds that the government is watching the situation closely, noting the new clusters at PCF Sparkle Tots and Dover Court International School.